Our program today, you may remember last week or so, I commented that it was the 250th anniversary of the Battle of Concord and Lexington, and that was really the beginning, part of the beginning of the American Revolution. And we are now at the point where we're going to have several years recognizing and engaging in historic lookbacks at the events of the American Revolution. And our city historian here, Vinnie Luisi, has been actively involved with a group, national group, that's recognizing 250, the 250th anniversary. And so I invited Vinnie to come and talk about things he's been doing and things that are interesting that I think everybody here will benefit from hearing about and find an enjoyable and educational time. Vinnie, please come forward.
Okay to put it right in here? Can everybody hear me? It's okay. Well, first of all, I want to thank you all for letting me be here. It's been a little while, but it's always nice to come back to the Rotary clubs and have cooperation between us. The last time I was here, I was still officially the director of the Dunedin History Museum. I, since last year, did officially retire, but like Al Pacino with The Godfather, they keep on pulling me back in. So I'm now working as a consultant with the museum on special projects, which one I'll talk about as we end. But in the meantime, when I retired, I had several things that I wanted to do on my own. And one of them, as Chuck says, people don't realize, first of all, how many, and I'm sorry if I'm aging anybody, but how many remember 1976, the bicentennial? I had a feeling, the group, yeah, which was an amazing thing. The tall ships, celebrations, parades. Dunedin had a huge parade. We have at the museum a scrapbook of that year of July 1976 and all the activities that went on with that. I'm going to talk a little bit about hopefully the plans in next year, but the actual term for the 250th anniversary is called the semi-quincentennial, the 250th birthday of America. Now, people think, okay, that's 2026, 4th of July, but, and as Chuck says, it's true, that's the big day. But really, in 2022, the federal government set up a U.S. committee throughout the United States to start planning different statewide programming. Unfortunately, Florida was one of the last to sign up, but the governor now has signed a bill to participate and has allocated funding for particularly next year's celebration on July for special events in the state capitol, as well as certain larger cities in the Florida area on that. But as a member, I am one of the regional, the representative for Florida is Maria Salazar. She's the legislature for Miami. And there's 5 of us that are set for the Southeast region to help plan different activities. But it just so happens, because of all my connections up Northeast, I'm also on the committee for the Northeast, which is very exciting. It actually kicked off, as I said, in 2022, and it goes up. For those who don't know their American Revolution history, the American Revolution just wasn't July 4th, 1776. That American Revolution, before we truly received our independence from England, took 8 years. The war really did not end until 1781. So from 1775 to 1781, America was in conflict with England. So within that time, many, many historical battles took place, many events took place, the Continental Congress, the Declaration of Independence, the Articles of Confederation, eventually our Constitution in 1789, So truly, again, as many people say, this was the formation of America. And here we are 250 years later, still America, which is an amazing thing that we can say we're still here after 250 years, kind of wounding the binds of various things that have happened through America, the Civil War, radical changes, wars, political differences, but America seems to bind it together, and with the Constitution and with our representatives, makes America strong, and hopefully will continue for another 250 years. But I've actually been involved with several projects already. For those who don't know, in 2023, I was up in Boston. This is, again, Boston was sort of the hotbed at the beginning of the American Revolution. So a lot of things are happening up there. Eventually, in the next 4 to 5 years, you're going to see things happening anywhere from Pennsylvania down to the north end of Florida. Believe it or not, for people who, again, don't know, England owned Florida at that time. And Florida was divided into 2 sections. West Florida, Pensacola was their main port, and on the east side was St. Augustine. So we were British held at that time during the American Revolution, and we are planning different events up that way. We are actually planning 1 or 2 events for Dunedin that relate to that history for next year as well. But I was up in Boston in 2023, and we did and reenacted the Boston Tea Party. If anyone wants to see the event, it's still actually on video on YouTube, but also on Fox TV has kept that whole program on the reenactment. And just a week and a half ago, I was in the Battle of Lexington and Concord for the celebration there. Again, this seems for most people to believe that was what they called the shot heard round the world, where that was where they say was the first firing of the beginning of the American Revolution. Now, I've been there several times, but again, this year, it was incredibly. There was over 75,000 people there at that event. The battle at Lexington happened very early in the morning at 5 a.m. And I got there, believe it or not, I was staying in Concord, and Lexington 7 miles away, which is how the British had to walk back and forth. The night before, I watched the recreation of Paul Revere come running in with his horse, and not the British are coming, but the regulars are coming. Everybody, because everybody was British. Everybody forgets we were all British at that time. So the regulars were coming, but Paul Revere got captured halfway through, and Dr. Prescott, his riding assistant, got through to Concord. But when I got there, there were at least 20,000 people lined up to see this event. It was truly an amazing thing. The excitement, and this is 5 o'clock in the morning. Luckily, by the time I got there, because all the roads were blocked, and I wish I would have had a little more time, I had a short video of a kind of British-American takeoff about them trying to get to the battle as if it was today with all the roadblocks and what would have happened. But literally, I had to walk 4.5 miles at 3 o'clock in the morning from Concord to get to Lexington. And here I am at 3 o'clock in the morning walking the same road at the same time in the pitch black, the same road that Paul Revere and the Minutemen were traveling back to get to the battle. So it was kind of I kept on waiting to see ghosts. I thought Paul Revere scooted by me, but I'm not really sure. But so I did participate in that, and it was a great event. Then we went on to Concord, where the governor of Massachusetts, Lieutenant Governor was there, several representatives from the National Committee for the celebration of America 250. The Lieutenant Governor was there, and also the head, Rosie Roas, who is the federal head of the America 250 plan. So she was there. So it was an amazing event. It was a 4-day program that just captivated Boston. And then everything was going on. And then it just so happened the Monday after what's called Patriots Day, April 19th. Boston every year celebrates Patriots Day, which is the day of the battle. The next day is the Boston Marathon. So everybody was just, the runners were there, and it was just an amazing event in Boston at that time. So all this is going on for the next couple of years. And as I said, believe it or not, 50 years later, we're here. And I'm hoping to work with the city to help celebrate, possibly with some parades next year or some dedications. Ironically, and Commissioner, we can work on this together with the mayor and the other commissioners. Dunedin is actually celebrating their 100th anniversary of being the city of Dunedin. So it's actually happening the same time that we're celebrating America's 250. So I would love to see, again, if those who were around in 1999 here in Dunedin, we had a huge event for the 100th anniversary of when we became a town. And I'd love to see something like that happen with the city of Dunedin celebration. And on top of that, celebrate America and have some kind of event that goes on with that. So I'll entertain any questions about the 250th. As I said, you're going to see this go on for at least the next 5 years. Mainly right now, it's in the Northeast. Matter of fact, in the next 2 weeks, it's the reenactment of Bunker Hill. Now, they're not, if those who know Boston, Bunker Hill is in the center of the downtown Charleston area, and there's no way they're going to get 10,000 soldiers there. So they're actually doing it about 45 minutes away in one of the parks that are there that the reenactment will hold right there, so that they don't overcrowd Bunker Hill at that time. But they will have a flag raising and a leaf lying down for those who do pass away at Bunker Hill, or technically Breeds Hill at that time where it took place on that. But are there any questions about the activity? Yes.
Constitution is strong, and it's also fragile.
Yep. Yeah. And again, there's going to be so many things that are going to go on with that. And again, at the museum and through the city, if people have interesting ideas, I would love to see the schools involved, the churches involved, which is sort of what we did in 1999, the celebration of Dunedin as a town. I would love to see a full community participation for this event, particularly for the 4th of July 2026. I think that would be a great way for the community to bind together. If you had been here in 1999, it was an overwhelming emotional event that we all got together, everybody, kids, families, schools, churches, the city, the museum, and we all participated in various events on that. Yes.
Just last week I was and we went to last and it's all through and they have big signs about the 50th, what has been done with that. We were talking about the parade, and they do talk about how was it and how it is now, and the fracture, you know, thing.
Yeah.
That's what I came up with.
It's a very inspiring and emotional thing. This year particularly, they did the full scale recreation, which included lighting the Old North Church in Boston with the two lanterns, and Paul Revere setting out from there, virtually rowing a boat with others across Charleston Harbor and getting on his horse, and from there going down the small villages and towns of Massachusetts along the turnpike there and ending up in Lexington and Concord. But many people don't know, halfway to Concord, Paul Revere did get captured by the British and never did finish that. He ended up walking back, like I did, to Lexington that morning. I thought I passed them on the road. So, yeah. But it is a lot that we're going to do. Keep an eye on it. There'll be TV. Matter of fact, while I was in Massachusetts, there were special speakers, and one of the persons who I had worked with in the past was Ken Burns. I'm sure people remember Ken Burns from documentaries, the Civil War, baseball, jazz, African American. He was there in December. He is previewing a brand new 8-part series on the American Revolution, which starts the first week of December. So he'll be on that. So, and again, I saw parts of it. It's going to be a really great series. So if you're not aware of the American Revolution and all the emotional things that happened, and the stories of our founding fathers and George Washington's trials and tribulations wearing out on an army that started from scratch, it's an amazing story. So I think you would enjoy watching it. Finally, just one thing I just want to plug for the museum. Again, Chuck, thank you. We had the History Maker Award, which we gave 4 honorary members of our community for doing good, our History Maker Award. Again, Chuck said, and we will be doing that again. We stopped during COVID. We had done it for almost 40 years, but COVID kind of put it, and the president, Steve, decided it's time to bring it back. So we brought it back, and it was a huge success. However, for those who know the museum outside, if you ever walk past the museum on the hour, you hear the chimes ringing of our clock tower. Well, about a year and a half ago, we had a lightning storm, and both clocks, this can sound a little weird, both clocks got hit by lightning. And I kidded someone saying, well, it sounds like Back to the Future, your clock tower. But someone said, Vinnie, that's not such a far reach. We are doing a fundraiser on August 16th called Back to the Future, Save the Clock Towers. And we have rented out the Dunedin Community Center, and we are bringing in the movie, customers, awards, prizes, as well as the DeLorean. We have an individual in St. Pete who has built the DeLorean time machine. So we're doing that. So we're going to start selling tickets. Everyone is willing and happy to wear your costume from Back to the Future. And we are selling tickets the first week of June. There's limited amount, about 350, and we look for sponsors. But it is the 40th anniversary in July of the movie. So we hope to raise the money to complete and build new clocks and new power lines for the clock tower that got hit by lightning. So keep an eye on our flyers and our website for the Save the Clock Tower in Dunedin. So I want to thank you. I hope I didn't take too long, but thank you, Chuck.
It's happening in the state of Florida because the British had East Florida and West Florida. There were no battles.
Actually, there was one battle that was on the borderline of Georgia with some of the colonists. So we had one skirmish, and then there was one in Pensacola for the area of strategic planning for ships, because that was a big port where imports came in for British. Believe it or not, British got their supplies in Florida and shipped it up to Georgia and the Carolinas while the battles were there. So there will be a few things that go on in the northern part of Florida for the celebration. Again, thank you very much. I appreciate it. I'll be around later if you have any questions, but thank you very much.
Vinnie, thank you. Really interesting stuff, and really appreciate you presenting on that, letting us know those plans.